What's it going to be in
Um,
KC? I guess in Buffalo this week.
yeah,
They're not
Buffalo.
playing in KC.
I know. It's sad for once. So that is a great segue into the games. We'll talk a little bit about each divisional matchup, starting off with what the Bills have been waiting so long for to get Mahomes in Orchard Park during the postseason. This is Mahomes' first ever playoff road game, and it's gonna be cold. We literally, I mean, I think most of the country saw the videos last week of fans climbing through, feet of snow.
Hmm.
But it does look like right now the forecast is that it will be sunny. There'll be a little bit of sun, only partly cloudy. They'll have a nice high of 24 near game time. So
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
yeah, not too bad, but no, it's gonna get bad. It's
Is
too
that
bad.
wind
It looks
chill?
looks like they're having the highs of 40 later that week, but to welcome in the Chiefs, it's gonna be chilly, and yeah, hopefully we're gonna reinforce those helmets. But Rep, I did
Hmm.
watching the game last week and listening to some analysts. It did make sense. People play different when money's on the line, when the whole season's on the line, and for the defending champs, taking on the Dolphins at home, and obviously the Dolphins were not necessarily enjoying the weather, but
Hmm.
it was pretty clear that the Chiefs are like, all right, we got to lock in. This is game time. Figure it out. And of course, I'm always gonna compare Mahomes to Jordan, but you could see it similar to those Bulls team where you have some issues during the regular season. People arguing, where's Rodman? What's going on? And then once postseason came around, they got serious. It's time. It's time to lock it in. And that's what happened. They handled business at home against the Dolphins.
So do you feel fixed now as a
A
team?
little bit, a little bit. I am definitely a lot more confident playing the Bills, who at one point looked like they weren't even making the playoffs.
Does the road thing even bother you at all?
It does. It does bother me, but last week them needing, like they did handle the Steelers, but the amount of help they got from the refs was crazy. So we're gonna have to see. I don't know. Both teams coming into this game have a whole lot of help from the refs. I don't know. It sounds like the Bills are already trash talking, saying good luck, coming to the area. But
Are the
yeah,
Chiefs saying anything?
I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, it looks like I'm not sure because yeah,
Who's
they're like,
talking for the
oh, he's
Bills?
never been. What's his face? Dion Dawkins
Ooh, okay.
talking about some lineman talking about how it's gonna be tough for Mahomes. I don't know. Last time, once we had Burrowhead, and last time they were chatting up. Last time someone was chatting up a storm. They got what was coming to them. But yeah, there is like 5% of me that is worried. I mean, this is probably one of the weakest offenses we've seen Mahomes in his career when you look at the whole season and going into, his first road playoff game. Those are a tough crowd. It's going to be tough, but the Bills themselves have shown to be shaky sometimes at home as well. Um, Let me see here. They have one, two, three. Or I'm looking at the wrong. Here I'll look it up.
Well, for your
But
Chiefs, well, for your
yeah,
Chiefs though, like the two things that I think that you had to fix, and he was, we'll say quote unquote fix going into the playoffs was, I think one was Travis Kelce, and again, I say quote unquote fix because if you look at the landscape of tight ends, he's still, Pro Bowl tight end, all pro level tight end, one of the best ones in the league. But in terms of like we're saying, Travis Kelce being that number one overall guy, that lead threat, just consistency, just all that stuff that you had with Travis Kelce in the offense the last couple of years. And this was one of three playoff games. The last playoff game that he played, you guys played against the Dolphins. He still had a good game, but one of three playoff games for him with under 100 passer rating when targeted, which honestly is just more like a credit to how amazing he's been in the playoffs. That he's played in almost 20 playoff games at this point, it only had 3 where he's under 100 passer rating when targeted. But the other 2 games that happened in was 2019. They won the divisional round versus Tennessee. Only had 3 receptions for 30 yards in that game. And then in the Super Bowl against Tampa, 10 receptions for 133 yards, but no touchdowns and a pick, and a bunch of targets too is gonna mess up the completion percentage, bring the rating down a little bit. And again, like his numbers were good in this one. I think 7 receptions, 70 plus yards, and only had a couple of drops in this one too. I think there was 3 drops, but again, like the numbers were decent. So do you feel good about Travis Kelce now as a lead guy in your offense?
No, and I don't think he will be. I don't know. We'll see. I think they can keep the
You
ball
don't
pretty
think you need him to
spread.
be?
Yeah, I think we need to focus on running the ball more and working off of that. I think Kelsey he slipped a little bit. The thing with Kelsey is that he is an older, still a really good player, but he's no longer in his prime. And at these high levels, if you even take your foot off the gas a little bit, it's going to show. And you could see he wasn't fully locked in with the kinds of drops he had. I mean, it wasn't like he was getting hit or had any defenders close to him. So you can see there's a little bit of, him not playing as great. Now, on the other side, the Bills, sneakily have a lot of injuries on their defense. Their defense it looked pretty shaky. Of course they handled business against the Steelers, but going up 17-0 before the Steelers finally scored. But not having Matt Milano does matter as well as Tre'Davious White. I mean, Tre'Davious White last couple seasons has been a great lockdown corner for them, and not having him, Balin Spector also out, Christian Benford. And even on the players who are playing, Terrell Bernard is shaky. Teron Johnson is shaky. So when 4 of their let's see here. So when 5 of their 8 linebackers are either out or questionable, I mean it's pretty clear what you got to do, and that's just ground and pound. And I think that's gonna really play well for us. Also Jordan Phillips on their D line is out, but I think that's gonna really work well for us as it takes pressure off Mahomes. Playoff football, you want to run the ball anyway, control the clock. It's that time of year with it being especially cold in the Bills area. And the Chiefs, we still have a great defense. And the thing I've always loved about our defense, time and time again, and it's especially true this year, is that this year they have been more of an actual more focused on fewer yards, making great tackles. They haven't been as creating turnover dependent, but there's still a lot of players on this team, on this defense, who will create turnovers, who will get
McDuffie?
that. And yeah, McDuffie, Snead. I think Bolton is really coming to his own as a run stopper. Karlaftis, your boy Chris Jones.
Karlaftis. I mean, take a second to just rave about Karlaftis this year. Was he like 11 sacks in the regular season?
Across from Jones is crazy.
Yeah.
I think you can see him being under the tutelage of Jones and listening to him in practice, and you can tell there's stuff he's doing at that young an age that you don't just roll out of bed knowing that is time spent working hard and listening to your coaches, listening to the people around you, and I think this defense is they're pretty healthy. Of course Brian Cook is out, but this defense is pretty much good. I mean, like we mentioned, that secondary with McDuffie, Snead, Mike Edwards, I really like as a free safety. It is interesting to have him on the team after that run he had with the Bucks destroying us. But hey, look, he's great. I think Tranquil's been solid. And then Willie Gay and Bolton as our linebackers I've loved. It's too bad Nadi's out, but still having Karlaftis and Jones on that D line. I think that we can get some serious pressure with our 4 up front. And if you can get pressure with 4, then you can create interceptions. And this year, out of all of them for Josh Allen, besides his rookie year, he has thrown a lot of he's created a lot of turnovers. He's given up a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. And the thing about the defensive injuries with the Bills though is kind of interesting because I was going through it as well too, and you're right. You see Bernard, he went out in the playoff game they just played. He went out against the
Yeah,
Steelers on a cart and like an air cast on it.
yeah.
And so the fact that he's even kind of questionable is honestly, I think, impressive. But also to have Benford out and Gabriel Davis too as well offensively. But like some of the defensive injuries, the Bills are always hurt. And I don't even do the defensive injuries even matter at this point? Because Benford's out, and I think looking on PFF, they've got Dane Jackson slotted in as the other starting corner across from Rasul Douglas. And again, we're it's not the peak starter guys, but it's a guy that's played a lot because of the Bills' injuries. I think a lot of just the Bills' secondary players and the Bills' defensive players in general are experienced and play in playoff games and have logged a lot of big moments. So the injuries at this point are, I don't know how much they affect the way I look at this game. And if you're if you go back and look at this too, like because you guys played earlier in the regular season, and this was the Kelsey lateral game. The
Mm,
Tony, there's the was that the
no.
was he offsides? Was that the offsides call that brought it back? Or
Yeah,
was that a
yeah,
different
yeah,
play?
yeah. No,
Okay, that
that's
was all the same
offsides. You're
play.
right. Yeah.
All that was all one. The fact that that all happened in one play is just
Yeah.
insane. And I think that one was 20-17. Does that last game even count as a loss because of that play? Like, do you think that
Not
you
in
guys
my
got beat in
mind.
that one? Okay, so you don't think you got
No,
beat?
no, and I do think that, Rasheed Rice has grown from that moment, I do think he has improved over the season a little bit. I think Noah Gray, our second tight end, he's shown
Yeah.
up a little bit in some of these plays. And so that combined with, I know the injuries don't matter. I feel like, but you might not be putting as much stock. I guess for me, it's just the amount of injuries in one place on the defense in terms
No,
of
the
the
linebackers for
linebackers.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like having no linebackers and late in the season, with it being running backs that matter so much,
Hmm.
with our limitations being an explosive team, us now, being able to run the ball. I think Edwards-Helaire has, he's definitely improved. I think over the season, Pacheco's shown up a little bit. So with us being able to ground and pound, and I think our O line's still pretty good. I think they can hold their own. So once you get to that second level, you're going up against fourth stringers. I don't. I think it's going to come into play, and for some that's going to be on the margins. I mean, we'll have to see. I didn't see. There's a reason the Bills were 6-6.
Yeah, the Bills front four against your offensive line is always going to be an interesting match because you're right. Your offensive line run blocking, I think it'd have the advantage. The thing is, in pass protection, maybe
Yeah,
they have Mahomes scrambling around a little bit. There's a,
yeah,
different dynamics there. But Rice is another one that I was going to ask you about. And going back to the things that you have to fix, going into the regular season, the receiving core was the obvious one. And Rice now over his last 7 games, including this last playoff game. So his last 6 regular season and then the playoff game, 92 yards a game, 4 touchdowns over that stretch as well too. The thing that's been kind of interesting with his usage, like you're right, in terms of again getting him the ball, it's they've been doing like they've been scheming him up in the offense, and Andy Reid's
hmm
been doing a good job of it. But his average depth of target through that stretch has only been 4.8 yards. So again, it is a lot of this scheme stuff, a lot of scheme stuff, and a lot of there's the screen pass stuff, but there's also just a lot of him like sitting down in the middle of the field, the short 5-6 yard stuff, just kind of move the ball down the field slowly. And in that Miami game too, that matchup is very favorable for him because I mean you got Jalen Ramsey on the one side, but no Xavier Howard means I think Kadir Kohu, hopefully I said that right, was on him for most of the game. Number 4 for the Dolphins.
yeah.
And I think if you look at some of the numbers this year for cornerbacks, he was just giving up some of the most yards in the league. I think gave up maybe like the third most touchdowns at the cornerback position as well, too. So it's not like a total surprise that Rice had a big day against Miami. But I mean, you're right. Like he Are you confident now? Because the thing is, like, again, like I've always liked Rice. So, like, I think if you check the tapes over the season, like I
Yeah.
I've always liked him. And in my gut, like, I actually do think that if he catches the ball, you guys can win the Super Bowl with Rice as your quote unquote number one receiver. Just the way the offense is able to work, and you're right, the way you've been running the ball and the way Mahomes is just able to do Mahomes magic type stuff. I think if you're just funneling the ball to, pause to Kelsey and to Rice the way you were in that last game against the Dolphins, I do think if he's consistent, I do think that can work for you. So if you're saying that he has grown and he's like kind of your number one guy, because he's still a rookie too. So I know there's the big
Yeah.
picture stuff where this is obviously good maturing for him being there long term, but to win, you think is he good enough to be this high usage and for you guys to win the Super Bowl?
I mean, I think he's going to have to be. I mean, if we want to win, he's going to have to be. I mean, when you look at the last couple of weeks against New England, he's 9 of 9. So nine receptions for 9 targets, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have a little bit of a stinker against the Rams, 6 of 12, 57 yards. But then the last 2 weeks, he's been stellar. I mean, 5 of 6, 127 yards. And then last week against Miami, even though it may not have been a great matchup, it's still getting those yards as
Yeah.
a rookie. 8 of 12, 1 touchdown, and for 130 yards. So, I mean, right now, it's with Kelsey having his issues, which I think he'll be fine this next game. I think he might. That being on national television and having a performance like that, I think Kelsey's going to get his stuff together. And he'll be
It was
back.
just a
And
weird
then,
game all the way around. Even the good
yeah.
passes from him, like the way he celebrated on the first catch, it was like, okay, I get that, this is a playoff game and it's good that you're ready to go. But
Yeah,
I mean, you guys are also in like your fourth Super Bowl run here.
exactly. So I think he'll come back better, and then I think with Rashee Rice continuing to play like this, I think there's starting to be a connection between them, and then if we're able to ground and pound specifically against this team, because I mean, if we can see it, they can see it, and they know what to do. So I think with all those combined, I really do like our chances going into Buffalo. On top of our defense maybe being, one of the healthiest units left in this playoff. I mean, I definitely have been hearing some people, put them in the top 3 units, top 4 units left in this league in terms of, offense, defense for your team. But I definitely believe it. They've been great this year, and we just need the offense to be the same.
And you are right that, I know we're talking big picture a little bit too, but the Bills are the matchup this week that they need to get past. But I mean, the thing is, like, you guys have really just focused your offense on Rice and Kelsey in a way that, like, if you just go through the targets from this last game, you've got Rice at 12, Kelsey at 10. Hardman's the next closest with 3, and then 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. 1 for Edwards-Helaire, 1 for Pacheco. So again, like, big picture against the Ravens defense where you get, a little more, you get like a high end talent. There's able to maybe take away some of the scheme stuff a little bit better. Like maybe this Bill secondary right's not able to take away some of the stuff that the Chiefs are going to want to do. But I do think big picture, not spreading the ball out pause is going to be interesting. But on the Bills side of things too, I know you talked about your guys' ability to run the ball, but their ability to run the ball is going to be important as well too. And
Yeah.
I know James Cook only had 10 attempts in the last regular season game that you guys played, but 58 yards on those 10 attempts, 5.8 yards to carry, 5.2 yards before contact per attempt was second most for him in a game this season. So again, like, their line was getting a pretty good push, and they were also using him in the pass game, 5 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown in that first regular season matchup. So I don't know. Is it more of a run game thing, or is it just James Cook is a dynamic player? Like, do you guys have to stop the run, or do you just have to slow down James Cook?
I'm not going to worry too much about James Cook. I'm not going to lie. I think our linebackers, I really trust Bolton. I mean, when you look at our last couple of games, just watching them, I've rarely seen them give up a big run. I mean, this defense is something special. I really do like this defense. And when you look at Cook's numbers, I think the most attempts he's had all season were against Dallas, where he had a crazy game,
Yeah.
25 attempts. But in terms of most of the season, it's usually around, it's similar to Pacheco, 15 to 18. And, I mean, he had last game he did have 79 yards against the Steelers, but 2 games before that, 36, 48 yards, 70 yards. I mean, it's pretty inconsistent. I mean, he had a game where he had 5 rushes for -4 yards. So, for in terms of Cook, like he, I don't think he's going to be the reason that we win or lose this game. And I think both teams know that. I think it's definitely going to be Josh Allen coming out and gunning. And that's why I'm very hopeful. But I know that the Nuggets will be, or why am I talking about the Nuggets? I'm watching the Nuggets right now.
Yeah,
That's
we're live
why
watching the game.
yeah, I love watching the game. That's why I know that the Chiefs defense should be able to create some turnovers from this team, especially with the Bills. Near the end zone, they do give up, in my opinion, a lot of turnovers. But yeah, we're not. I personally am not worried about James Cook.
The game that we're live watching is Nuggets Celtics. It's 62-57 Celtics on my stream right now. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything for Sam. I
Just
don't know.
one
Maybe,
point.
maybe I was just saying, who knows? Maybe he's ahead of me. I don't know if our
No,
streams are
you're
synced up
ahead.
at all. But the sneaky thing is though that I don't want to say the Bills have necessarily had your number recently, but they have definitely been like kind of hard fought matchups. And outside of that, outside of that playoff game that you guys, the divisional round matchup that you guys ended up winning against them, they've beaten you, 3 of the last 4 times they've played you with that playoff matchup being the one loss. And again, they were winning that game with 2 minutes left. And in those games, you scored 20 points to their 38, 20 points to their 24. And then in this last regular season game, 17 points to their 20. And then with 2 minutes left in that divisional game, it was 26-29 Bills. And then basically all the scoring happens right after that. But
Um,
they have been able to slow you guys down a little bit. Mahomes in the regular season versus Buffalo, 63% completion, 85 ratings, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. In the playoffs, 75%, 125 rating, 6 touchdowns, 0 picks. So, historically, he does level up against the Bills in the playoffs. Again, that divisional matchup could carry a lot of those stats, but they do know how to play you guys, and I don't know that they're necessarily afraid of this team, and they're at home. And I don't know if the weather is going to be a factor, but is Mahomes going to get doubted? Is there going to be like Mahomes doubt narratives at all if you lose this game? Is first take going to do a Mahomes, can Mahomes win on the road storyline at all?
yeah, I mean, they probably will. I mean, is it legit? No, but I do think. I mean, I just think that not having Jadarius White and Matt Milano is really going to matter in this game. I mean, those
Lano's
are.
tough.
I mean, those are both two big guys. I know White will usually like. I mean, he's our best option to lock up someone, and Rasheed Rice is really hot right now, and I do think that I mean, we thought the same thing with the Chiefs against the Bengals. They're in our head, blah blah blah. I just think that most of the time with the playoffs, it's just what team has their most stars, what team has most of their players that are gonna go out there and make plays. And the Chiefs have those. They have their guys. They have all pro level defensive guys who are playing great right now and are as far as we know fully healthy. And they have a lot of guys that are out. And it feels really simple. And maybe the Bills offense can keep up with Mahomes. But we know Josh Allen is turnover prone. And I really hope the Chiefs can run the ball a little more in this game. But I mean, I'm definitely a lot more confident after seeing the performance from last week and seeing how many injuries the Bills have. Because it's kind of crazy.
And for the people in the comments, we know that Milano has been out for most of the season and they haven't had him, they've adjusted to playing with him. But again, in a big playoff matchup, you'd rather have him out there. Was he first team All Pro last year? Or second team? He might have been second team.
Something out there. But there's been other linebackers that have been hurt as well, like pretty much all the second stringers. So, not having your second stringers is going to expose how much you don't have your first stringer even more.
So are we redoing? Can we just redo all of our playoff picks? I kind of just want to redo the whole bracket.
Yeah, I don't know. My bracket, is it busted?
We both had the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, so yeah, our brackets are kind of busted. Pause, but
I had the Cowboys beating the 49ers.
Let me double check here. IT did keep track of the playoff.
I think I had a Chiefs 49ers. Or no, I had a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl.
No, I think you had a I think you had no, you did have a Ravens Niners Super Bowl. You had a graphic Super Bowl. So you're one Final Four team down. So your bracket's semi busted. Pause, but I kind of want to redo it.
Yeah, we can redo it.
Totally new picks. We both picked the Chiefs in this game against the Bills. Are you still picking the Chiefs?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm a lot more confident.
Let me see what the money line is for this game. If it's more than plus 150, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Oh, it's plus 122.
Yikes.
Do I have to take the Bills? Is Josh Allen finally gonna get over the hump against Mahomes at home?
I highly doubt it.
I think he does it. I'm gonna pick the Bills.
Wow.
Let's do it. Let's pick against Mahomes. Put it on the bulletin board.
That's crazy. All right, he's putting it on the board. Good luck. That's all I can say.
Hopefully we make the bulletin board in Kansas City.
Yeah. Well, the other side of the bracket was also full of craziness as the Texans light it up, get the home playoff win, and are now stampeding over to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Rem, in what world, like, if this game is played 100 times over, how many times are the Texans beating the Ravens? Because I don't know. There's some people zagging right now. It's pretty popular to zag, but there's no way a rookie is taking a team to the conference championship, right?
How many times are they beating the Texans? Winning outright?
How many times are they beating the Ravens? Yeah.
How many times are they beating the Ravens? How many times are the Texans scoring more points than the Ravens? Is what you're asking. If they play 100 times? Maybe 38?
Yeah, that's high.
39?
Jeez.
Quite a few. I think the Texans are good.
Yeah.
And I think they're really scary. And I think I just think big picture with Stroud, I don't know if pressure can affect him. It just seems like the thing is the Texans offensive line has been playing a little bit better too as well and been protecting him a little bit more. But
Tunsil's out though. But yeah.
Is he out for this one?
I don't know if he's out for this one, but I remember seeing him hurt. Let me see.
He played in the last game, and I know he did get hurt in the last one and then ended up going he ended up subbing back in the game. But I don't know if you can affect Stroud with pressure. He's super collected in the pocket, is mobile and can make throws on the run. And if you can't affect him with pressure, you're kind of just relying on him to play poorly at that point. And again, what you're saying is he's a rookie and maybe that's the thing. He's inexperienced. He doesn't get it done. But I don't know. Is that what it is? Is it we just have to rely on CJ Stroud playing bad? Because if that's where you're at, that is a scary place to be as an opponent. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, pretty scary. Pretty scary. What would Stroud have to do for you to say you'd rather have CJ Stroud over Anthony Richardson? Is he there yet?
Problem is Anthony Richardson just didn't play at all.
At what point? What does this man have to do? Like, does he have to take him to the conference championship, the Super Bowl? What
I
does
think
he
he has
have
to.
to do?
I think he has to win 2 Super Bowls.
Okay, all right.
I think if he wins the Super Bowl this year, I think it's just like, hey, the AFC was wide open. Who knows? Richardson,
back to
he
back.
gets in.
That's all he needs to do. Back to back.
I mean, the people forget that Colts playoff game, or that Colts game at the end of the regular season for the Texans was a playoff game. That was winning in.
Yeah.
And if Richardson is in that game, who knows? Maybe the Colts aren't even in that position.
All right.
Pause.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
So if he wins it again, then it's like, okay, well, at that point, what do you use? Multiple Super Bowl winners. But I love Richardson. That's my guy.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone who listens to the pod, they shouldn't be surprised what happened to the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to Russell for pointing the stat that, or it was someone on his show pointing the stat of 4% of Flacco's throws or interceptions, and that was clearly shown in this game against the Texans. I do really like how that Texans defense played, and I'm a little worried about the Ravens. Last time we saw Lamar in this position, MVP season, he's out here chilling, doing who knows what on the bye, and then they come in and mess up, pretty much crap the bed in their game, and now they're back. They're back at it against an even friskier team than last time. I think it was the Titans who played them that one time. But now against a team that I trust definitely a lot more, with 7 Singletary as a running back. They've made it work with their wide receivers. Even though Tank Dell is out, for the season. Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, a pretty good tight end. He's underrated. I did like him, as a backup down in Dallas. And then this defense, they're really just a solid defense. All good defense. I don't know. Rem, is there a little bit of worry? I mean, the Ravens, they have their own stars too. There's a reason why they're the number 1 seed. They've been good all year. But is there any chokeability here? I mean,
What's the it's chokeability. We might have to throw a super pause on that one. What is the chokeability of the Ravens? Chokeability scale for the playoffs? Chokeability meter. We might have to do chokeability meter on Rem and Sam Plus. That's kind of wild. I don't know. But you're right. There is a couple of things that would, there's a couple of seeds that would be there if you were looking for a team to drop a game like this. I mean, you mentioned Lamar in the as the 1 seed, the MVP in the 2019 playoffs, but just in general, the last time we have seen Lamar in a playoff game, it's going to be 3 years when he plays in this Sunday. It was, I think 2021, January 2021 was the last playoff game he played. So the 2020
they
season.
didn't make it last year? Last 2 years?
He was hurt.
Oh, yeah, we have Huntley.
He's been out.
Yeah, that's true. Because I was like, they did make it, but yeah, you're right.
No, he's either they've, he's been injured when they've been in the playoffs or he's gotten hurt and they've missed. Yeah. So, I mean, just in general, the time off from the playoffs for Lamar, but the Ravens as well, too, just as a team, the last game that they're going to have played all together, like starters, December 31st, that Miami game, it's almost 3 full weeks. Yeah. 2 full weeks, 3 Sundays between games.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, again, the Texans, they had an early playoff game against the Colts. So 1 high pressure game, beat the Browns in another elimination game. They've played 2 elimination games at this point. Stroud's won in both. They've gotten better as well too. I mean, they were kind of unbelievable in that Browns matchup, especially in that first half. And I know the Flacco turnovers boosted the scoring number up, but their offense didn't get all of those points. But for what they did to the Browns defense and keeping Myles Garrett in check too, Myles Garrett didn't do anything in that game.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I don't know, but that was surprising to me.
with 3 tackles, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh, that's going out sad for them.
And is he gonna win DPOY?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is like you mentioned all year round, is that or all season long, is that maybe the offense has issues for the Browns, but at least they can rely on their defense. Number one defense. Well, CJ Stroud just put 45 points up on the defense. Maybe not him on his own. I think there were 2 pick sixes in there,
Yeah,
but still 20 plus. And he
very
probably
close.
could have put up more if he wanted. I mean, they were just doing whatever they wanted out there. So I I mean, I'm really scared for the Ravens. I'm very scared. I mean, I like the defense, but for a team that needs to, it feels like a team like like the 76ers. They really they kind of have to
Hmm.
go through all the toughest stuff just to shake off all their ghosts from the past. And one of their ghosts from the past is going into the postseason with with a league MVP and losing in the first round. And they have on their roster potentially the MVP again, with that first seed and seeing if they can make it to the second round. So I don't know. I'd be really happy if I'll be losing my line. I'll be hyperventilating if CJ Stroud wins this game.
Are you rooting for CJ Stroud in this one?
Oh my God, I am. It's gonna make up. Yeah, my CJ Stroud stock is definitely covering the books for the Trailblazers Team of the Year pick. So no, we're in, and I don't know. Am I crazy for picking the Texans in this game?
Are you picking them straight up? You're picking them to win?
I think I'm picking them to win. I think I'm picking them to win.
Ooh.
Lamar's gonna have to prove it to me. And right now, CJ Stroud is literally breaking like the expectations for what a rookie can do.
I think Romo made this point on the broadcast that they were doing, the last game that they were doing. I think they did I forget which game they did, but I think he made this point where these AFC matchups these are the 4 best quarterbacks in the AFC this season. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Stroud. Just rookie right away. He's top 4 in the conference.
Not more than Burrow. I think you can't forget Burrow.
But again, for this season,
yeah, for this season, yeah. But Burrow, when he's healthy, when he's right, you can't. I don't know. I mean, he did play this season.
But Stroud
Burrow
5
had some good games. But yeah, I would put Stroud 5. Yeah, I put him over Trevor Lawrence for sure.
And I think the Texans too, 9th overall on Pro Football Focus on their team rating. So like you're saying, just solid all-round team. D'Amico Ryans has definitely coached up the defense. The thing is, the defense is good. Like Stingley is good. Yeah. Will Anderson is good. Cashman is good. And D'Amico Ryans is a good coach. So he's just going to elevate all of the other players, then elevate the star players as well too. Christian Harris, there was that clip online. I saw it before we started recording, but of him like coaching up. It was like one of those mic'd up things of him coaching up Christian Harris on the Christian Harris pick 6 and just kind of him laying out exactly how that would go. Just D'Amico Ryans just doing an incredible job there. So like you're saying, the Texans do definitely have the all-round strength. The thing is, I think the biggest difference for me with the Lamar questions for, where these Ravens teams were compared to the past, like this Ravens team is just way better than that 2019 Ravens team. The talent surrounding Lamar there's like actual legit Pro Bowl talent. I know that 2019 team again maybe had like a dozen Pro Bowlers on it, but I do just think the guys straight up are better. Here, let me pull up the roster real quick and look at the team, because just like the skill guys alone, it's just kind of insane to go back and look at what Lamar was playing with. Then again, should they have beaten the Titans in that game? Maybe. I know that's Derrick Henry's awesome season, and he was 30 carries in that game for 200 yards. He was unstoppable. But their rushing leader, they had Mark Ingram, a 30-year-old Mark Ingram. Their receiving leaders were, Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews, but Hayden Hurst, Willie Snead, Seth Roberts, Miles Boykin.
Dang, RG3 was still in the league.
Was he doing clips yet?
I I mean,
at this
having
point.
Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst was embarrassment of riches. But yeah, they were yikes at wide receiver spot.
And the defense as well too. Let's see if we can pull up the defensive starters here for
Yeah.
the 2019 team. The defensive line: Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, Chris Wormley, Jalen Ferguson, Josh Bynes. You've got Jude on there, and Humphrey probably had his best season as well too. Earl Thomas in his final season managed somehow to make the Pro Bowl. But again, this year you've got Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Patrick Queen. You still got Marlon Humphrey. I mean, just those first three guys you're probably taking those guys above. Are you taking all of those guys above Judon? Definitely Hamilton.
Yeah.
Definitely Roquan Smith. So I do think that the Ravens team is significantly better compared to those other teams. But I do think
also the Texans team is significantly better than the Titans team they're playing. I mean, Derrick Henry was great in his prime, but you look at some of this offense the Texans have and that defense. I don't know. Maybe even the coach. I mean, Vrabel against DeMarco Ryans. I don't know.
You're definitely right about that. It's a little more well balanced. I mean, Tannehill versus Stroud feels like an embarrassing conversation to even have at this point. But the other thing is too, the Texans right now are minus. Let me double check. Minus 9.5 or plus 9.5. They're 9.5 point underdogs. So all of the money right now is like incredible on the Texans. If you want to go alternate spread, Texans plus 4.5, plus 176, plus 3.5 is 2-1. If they lose by a field goal, 2-1 odds. So the money I think is good enough on some of these Texans lines where plus 9.5 feels ridiculous, and it feels like I think Stroud is competitive. But the other part is too, like, are we just underestimating the Ravens? Because again, their resume this year was they destroyed the Lions, destroyed the Niners, destroyed the Dolphins, and we're like clearly the best regular season team. So again, the talent on this team is better. Are we just underestimating them because 22-year-old Lamar threw a pick that bounced off of Mark Andrews' hands?
I mean, I'm undervaluing because of not just their history. Texans look really hot, and if there's any this year that's looked like a giant killer, it's definitely been the Texans. I mean, some of their games, you're just like, oh, they're just gonna win this. And honestly, this offense, I mean, it's really clicking. So do I actually think in my brain, that the Texans are going to beat the Ravens? No, I know the logical answer is to pick the Ravens. I think they are the better team. But like I've said in the past, if CJ Stroud wins this game and I'm not picking him, I'm going to feel horrible. And I love watching CJ Stroud play. I mean, it takes him a little bit games. You can see, he needs a little bit. But once flip any game on its head, and he's used to winning close games. I mean, we've seen him time and time again against good teams, winning close games. To not just make this defense not even be a threat by Joe Flacco throwing picks helps, but pretty much handling business against this Browns team that has been a good defense all year long, to go up against a team that, yes, is at home, but maybe a bit sluggish. I don't know. I got to go with the underdogs in this one. I think a lot of these other games are going to go with the higher seed, but I really, and it would just be crazy for me for CJ Stroud to make it to the next round. Being the conference championship, that'd just be stupid.
So this is already the greatest rookie QB season of all time. Is that undebatable now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is he the only one that's won a playoff game?
I haven't looked at anyone. I haven't looked.
They said he was the youngest, right?
Youngest. I mean, if Mahomes doesn't play that one game he would have had.
Becomes, a youngest QB to win it. So I guess if he's the youngest, he's probably definitely the only rookie. Because you're right, Mahomes wouldn't have won it as a rookie, technically. Brady, I don't think Brady technically as a rookie won a playoff game either. I don't think he really played at all
CJ.
his rookie season.
Yeah.
Manning went 3-13. Prescott lost in the playoffs.
And like, it's not just that he won; it's that he like throttled them. Yeah, I mean he was significantly better than that Browns team again. So most games, and like we know, like with most games with rookies, you're just you're making it all perfect for them. They have a good running game. They're all setting it up. It doesn't matter with CJ. He's just chucking it out there, and it's that fight we saw in him when he was playing with Ohio State in the college football playoff, and it was game time, and he still he went out there and made plays happen. So I mean, we've seen it before. Shout out pedigree, and I'm gonna pick him again. Lamar. We see one guy who's been a winner, is shown to continue to be a winner, and on this other side, I mean, Lamar is a winner for sure. He's not quarterbacking enough. No, he is. Oh my gosh, can't believe it.
Good thing you said it.
Yeah, gosh. He's a great quarterback. He is shown to be great at winning regular season games. But when the postseason comes along, Lamar has not. I think he's won one playoff game his whole career. Am I right on this? Like, yeah. I mean, how are you going to get more MVPs than playoff wins? Like, he definitely has to win this game. But it's just, I mean, that'd be crazy if he did.
Thing is, though, all of the other guys, because you're right, he's going to win his second MVP. All of the other guys that have won multiple MVPs have all won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, now Lamar. And Unitas won 3 MVPs. Jim Brown won 3 MVPs. And Unitas did win a Super Bowl. Jim Brown obviously didn't play when they had Super Bowls, but probably would have won like 4 of them. So that's not even like Lamar is necessarily on the clock this year to win that Super Bowl right away. It's not like, all the guys won the MVP on the same season winner. But I mean, you're right. He is on the clock, and this year they have the best team and they're heavy favorites going into this game. I think I'm going to pick the Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one, but I'm going to bet all the Texans money stuff. So that's going to also guarantee that the Texans don't win. But the value is good enough where I think the Texans could have a good game. Like, the team total right now is 16.5 points. Like, they could lose this game 20-24, 24-27. It could be it could be in the 20s easily. So I think the value for some of the Texans money is like, we're taking it. Books, the Rem and Sam books are already hammering it pause. So I think we can make money on a good Texans performance, and Lamar gets a good playoff win. I mean, Stroud can't have more playoff wins than Lamar.
It'd be crazy.
If Stroud has 2 to Lamar's 1.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I just thinking of him having more MVPs than playoff wins. That's just stupid. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what other sport? Like,
he would be the only guy.
I can't. Oh gosh. Again, this is nothing against Lamar's skill, but I just got to see it. I got to see it to believe it, and one guy has shown it. So I gotta see it.
Is there even a way to look at that in basketball? I'm trying to think, like, more playoff series wins than MVP. But even then, I can't even think of a guy. How many MVPs did Bob McAdoo win?
Yeah, I can see one more than one series. Yeah.
I think he might have too. He won the finals with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Now Dave Cowens won the finals. Pettit. Yeah, it turns out all these guys that won the MVP were pretty good. So they were winning playoff games.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, moving on to the other side of the bracket. I guess we can start with the Niners-Packers. Packers are flying into the Bay, into Levi Stadium to take on the Niners. And I think it's pretty obvious, the Packers are obviously just playing with house money right now. I mean, to get this kind of season out of
Jordan Love is going to be playing with a lot of house money after this playoff performance.
I mean, he's definitely at least locked in there the next 2-3 years against after getting that kind of win against the Cowboys. And but the thing that is very sneakily true about this Packers team that started to rear its ugly head. If Dallas had those timeouts near the end of the game, I think there's a real world where
Oh,
they're coming back and winning that game against the Packers. And it was
well, I don't
showing
know about
kind of,
that, but
I think they were. I think you look at that end of the game
you
and
had me for a second there. But
you can see how bad the Packers defense has been. And that combined with some serious pressure on Jordan Love. I mean, the 49ers have just been waiting for this opportunity they've always had some issues, but for once, they have the perfect conditions. They've had the bye. They're going to be playing at home all the way to the Super Bowl. They have their whole quarterback and everyone healthy. They have zero excuses. They have all the talent in the world. I mean, this is pretty much an all-star team. And I believe they will handle business in this first week against. And I mean, I don't really see the Bucks or the Lions really challenging them either.
so I was going to ask you which rookie or which, line was more disrespectful between the Packers and the Lions or Packers and the Texans. But you picked the Texans to win. So obviously the Texans. So what is the Stroud thing then over Jordan Love? Because the thing is, like, this is kind of Jordan Love's, it's not his rookie season, but it is, obviously his first full season starting, his first chance at a playoff run. And I think the numbers for him and Stroud were basically identical. They were both 16 to 21. I think Stroud had like 3 more yards, and they both had the same amount of touchdowns. So is it the college thing from Stroud that gives you that extra confidence?
There is pedigree. I think pedigree matters. I think also it being given the keys immediately. I mean, and I
I
think
mean, I mean, it is
I
Rodgers,
do
but
think yeah, that's the thing. It is Rodgers. But then him being drafted that low, there's reasons he was evaluated at where he was at. And I think with let me see here. I mean, you look at the losses that CJ Stroud has had. They did lose badly to the Jets. There was that fluke game.
and he didn't
There
play
was a
well in
really
that game either.
yeah. There was a 3-point game against Jacksonville. That was close. They did give Carolina their only win of the season against another 2-pointer against the Falcons. And then, beginning of the season, 2 losses, but he was starting to, he's figuring what out. I mean, it's a rookie, his first. So outside of the 3 losses in his first 5 games, I mean, he was beaten only 3 times the rest of the season. 1, 2, 3, 11. So he had 3 losses in the first 5 games and then 3 losses in the next 11. Um, and with that game right now, 3-game winning streak. I don't know. I think it's just the way that CJ Stroud consistently attacks, down the field with his throwing. I think there's a little bit better connectivity with his wide receivers. But,
Hmm.
I can also understand why people, have Jordan Love pretty close to him. And Jordan Love has been in the league for several years. Like you mentioned, he's been under Rodgers, so he should be, at least somewhat better. So, I mean, putting him on the same level as CJ Stroud, I get it. Why? But like he's been in the league longer and he should be better than Stroud. Like he's playing what he should be.
Sure, there's probably a big
Yeah,
age difference too now. Is he probably what,
yeah, he's
24,
25. Yeah,
25?
yeah, he's
Stroud's like
25.
21, 22.
Yeah,
Yeah, he might be
exactly. Yeah,
22. But I'm picking the Niners too. I don't think and
yeah.
I do agree the Texans is a more feisty upset matchup. I mean, this Packers team could definitely cover. Like, I don't the Packers money line probably not gonna hit, but I mean they could definitely cover and keep it interesting. But the fact that Jordan Love has now won a playoff game and kind of solidified himself as a starter, shout out to the 2020 quarterback draft class, because the first 5 guys off the board that year: Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. All 5 of those
Wow.
guys Pro Bowl level. I mean, 4 of them have made the Pro Bowl Tua finally made it this year. I know we have the playoff questions, obviously, with Tua. And Jordan Love wasn't in the Pro Bowl, but definitely showed Pro Bowl level stuff in that playoff game. I mean, 5 quarterbacks that can win a playoff game feels like I want to call it the best quarterback class of all time, but to get 5 solid starters and then Burrow MVP candidate, Herbert as an upside guy. I mean, Tua was in the MVP conversation for a while, even though it maybe should have been Tyreek Hill. I guess even Hurts last year was second in MVP voting.
Yeah,
it's kind of a stacked class.
No. I mean, I guess yeah. When you look at that, it is tougher to knock Jordan Love being taken so low, but I definitely between the two teams. I mean, I obviously do have more faith in Houston. I mean, I think they do have some more. I mean, I think, end of the season, having your season on the line, handling business on the road as well, to get that win was huge. And I think, obviously smashing Cleveland matters. But, also the Packers themselves, I think they had a little bit more up and downs than the Texans. I mean, I think the Texans just finished with a better. Was it the same record?
Texans were 10-7.
Yeah, but I mean, the Packers went on a 4-game losing streak. 5 out of 6
Green Bay
games.
9-8.
Yeah, there was some shaky. There were some times, it was back-to-back weeks where Jordan Love looked really bad. So I don't know. I think Love has definitely been more not dependable throughout the season, but obviously I'm biased. I like the guy, so. I think Jordan Love is going to be the Packers guy for a while, but yeah, I don't know. I just haven't had any faith with him. I'm just kind of out. But
you're out?
He's winning back. He's winning me back.
His Spotrac value right now is like 40 million. So there's be an interesting offseason conversation to have with him. But
yeah.
Packers do have Rick Bisaccia as their special teams assistant, so. Something to watch in this Niners game? I don't know. Can Rich get it done? Back in the
shout out to the Raiders for bringing back Anton Pierce, keeping the guy this time. Yeah, bad time.
Pierce over Harbaugh, is that the right move? I think they did the right thing. I think Pierce is the culture. I think Pierce established a culture. I think guys like Max Crosby and the other stars were buying in. And I think, they were playing well as well, and they were feisty. They had a couple of performances where, the 63-point game. Shout out Antonio Pierce for that. So I think he earned it. I don't think a guy like Harbaugh gets to just swoop in and take the job from Antonio Pierce. That's not fair.
No, that's why he was interviewing with the Falcons.
He interviewed with the Falcons, and then the Falcons said that they're bringing Belichick for a second interview. So who knows how well that Harbaugh won that?
I don't know. It means he's ready to leave. I mean, he went for the interview.
We call this move the John Gruden. This is the I'm going to go interview around to boost my price. Because he is also negotiating a contract simultaneously with Michigan. And it's not even just a money thing as well, too. He's trying to get I don't want to call it tenure, but like a no firing clause for the allegations and all the scandal stuff that's going to be happening. He wants protection in the contract extension for any potential stuff that could happen because of that. So I think he's going to do a lot of interviewing and a lot of poking around to try to, I think, help himself with these contract negotiations. But shout out Antonio Pierce.
Shout out. And shout out to the 49ers who should get this win at home. Moving on to the next game.
Packers going to cover it quickly.
Headed over to the Lions. It is. No.
9.5?
I don't think they will. I think this is going to be a blowout.
Okay.
I do think it's going to be a blowout. I wouldn't be surprised. They're finally healthy.
Bet the Niners.
Bet heavy money on the Niners, 49ers. Other side of the bracket, the Bucks sailing into Detroit. Really happy for the Bucks. They're a team that I really like watching early in the season. I kind of was worried it was just Linsanity a couple weeks thing, but they're back. They're backing at it, and I'm really happy they exposed the fraudulent Eagles because I was trying to warn y'all. I was like, they keep losing here. Like this is means something, and same with the Pack. Losing streaks matter to me a lot. I think in the NFL when you losing back to back to back games matters, and that was clearly shown with this game. I mean, even the announcers were saying it just looked like the Eagles didn't want to play. So Bucks reap the rewards and face the Lions, who barely beat the Rams.
Would you believe it if I told you this was the only matchup this week with number one overall picks for quarterbacks? This is the battle of the number one picks. Jared Goff versus Baker Mayfield. And I gotta say, the Jared Goff reclamation thing has obviously been in full effect this year, and he had been in a Super Bowl with the Rams, obviously. So there was, he has had NFL success. Baker has had it as well too, but I mean the Baker reclamation thing, the way they won that playoff thing, and I get the Eagles defense, like you're saying. Maybe that was more of a Eagles collapse in a way, but I mean he looked good last week.
Yeah, no, he looked really good.
And like, what have you just taken away from his season in terms of, I don't want to say revitalizing his career, but is he clearly now like a starting level guy? Is he like a top 15 quarterback in the league, top 20?
I think he's top 20. I think, again, they do have Godwin. They do have Mike Evans. So, shout out to having good wide receivers. The team has been, the team they're playing in, the Eagles have been rocky the last couple of weeks. And I think it's pretty obvious, you saw Hurts, he was hurt, literally. I mean, he wasn't 100%. And I just think that they're again, Matt Patricia, I still don't know why he has a job in this league, and
probably has blackmail.
Too much talent to be this bad.
An IT search, does Matt Patricia have blackmail? And see if that's why he's
maybe.
See if that's why he's still in the league.
You might have a chest. But, they made this offense perfect for Mayfield. And, it's kind of interesting. I mean, at the beginning of the season, the Bucks, expected to tank. They got rid of all their options. It was Kyle Trask and who else was around there. And I think this is showing, you still have weapons. The value of having someone like Gardner Minshew. You guys almost made the playoffs. Baker Mayfield. Fitzpatrick a couple of years ago, who had a solid season with the Bucks himself. Just having, if you still have the pieces of a good team like the Bucks do, they still have pieces of the team in Levante David, and those in their secondary, in having even having a Super Bowl winning coach in Todd Bowles. Yeah, they won with him as coach, I think, right?
Was he on the staff?
I'm trying to remember.
They won with Arians?
Or he was the defensive coordinator. Oh, okay, he was the defensive coordinator. But having Godwin and Evans out wide, I mean, great wide receivers like that, who you just chuck it up to and they catch it, mostly. I think I was just watching some of the highlights and it was Evans drop just now. But I think it's perfect. Also, a good O-line. I mean, this was built for Tom Brady. It was built really, really good, and it's still good. I mean, shout out Tristan Wirfs. Shout out the pieces on this team. And so they just needed someone to be average, and Mayfield he's getting it done. But I think it does end this week, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
Confirmed. Todd Bowles was the defensive coordinator on the Bucks Super Bowl winning team. There is a couple of things that are concerning from the Lions side of things. Well, just one in general. Do you think the Lions are playing well? Because their last 7 games now, or the last 7 games to finish the season, they were 3-4. And they managed to, win the playoff game against the Browns or against the Rams. But as Fataport pointed out when we did the Tuesday show, I mean, the passing leader, receiving leader, rushing leader were all Rams guys. I think a lot of the good performances came from
Yeah.
the Rams side. And maybe there isn't just a big case that that game was a 1 point game. They easily could have figured out a way to pull it off at the end. So do you like the Lions vibe right now? I guess, the winning the playoff game is a good vibe. Do you think the team's playing well?
No. No, I mean, I do think the team has been scraping by. But I do, obviously getting this win against the Rams is huge for this team. Boosting their confidence, knowing that they can win at home, shaking, getting that off their back. Something that's been haunting them for almost a generation here. And, that it will be interesting to see them play against a team that they're not as invested in beating. With the Rams, there's all that history, and there's the game where they feel like they got slighted. And so, but I think having them at home again, having the face this team facing the Bucks at home, and having that crowd with them is definitely going to help. And I think it's going to be enough to make really win it. I mean, there is part of me that is a little bit worried about Mayfield's explosiveness as a passer. As this offense of explosiveness really, racking up some points, and the Lions' offense not having enough to come back. But I think the Lions. I mean, their defense showed up when they needed to in that fourth quarter to stop the Rams from scoring. But it has been a lot of close games. It has, and that's why I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. But I think against a team that they should beat, they will handle business. But I think they will. I don't know if they will. It's one of those things. You I don't know. Should we? How much percent of you is leaning towards the Bucks?
Well, you mentioned that Mayfield's explosiveness. Like, the thing is, the Bucks didn't really run the ball well against the Eagles, and Mayfield was still able to have a good passing attack. And the Lions' run defense is good this year, so maybe the Bucks aren't gonna be able to do that. But the Lions' secondary this year has been really weak. And if you go back through that stretch that we just mentioned, where they were 3-4, and look at the receivers that they were playing against, they lost to Green Bay, gave up 5 receptions, 94, and a touchdown to Watson. They gave up 5 receptions and 119 yards to Olave, 6 receptions and 141 yards and a touchdown to Jetta. They had the 13 for 227 and a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb. Jetta again with 144 and a touchdown. Puka Nacua last week, obviously, 180 yards and a touchdown. Even in the Denver game, too, if you put Sutton and Judy's numbers together, 8 receptions for 145 yards. That Denver offense is not necessarily even explosive. So there is a chance that Mike Evans could have a big game in this one.
Mm.
And the Bucks, Godwin as well, too. And the Bucks defense in this one, compared to the Rams defense, just a little bit more experienced. And on the season as well, too, 7th in points per game allowed this year, the Bucks defense. And Ray Lewis pointed this out on the Manning cast. Shout out to the Manning cast. They were doing the Bucks Eagles game pause. It was their last game of the season, and they had Ray Lewis on as the fourth quarter guest. And he was really pointing out the gang tackling that this Bucks defense was doing. But what that also points to as well, too, is this defense is a well-coached unit and just a bunch of veteran guys that have, the corners that they have are still the corners that made the Super Bowl runs. Dean and Davis both look good in that Bucks week. Fataport pointed that out in that Eagles win. Fataport pointed that out as well, too, on the Tuesday pod. So to have that experience, those veteran guys back there, I mean, I think that's going to be a little bit more of a feisty matchup. So is this Bucks team, I don't think it's better than the Rams team, but maybe that defense is a little bit better. The thing that you said, though, is that I think important is the defense for the Lions did kind of clutch up when it mattered. And in the fourth quarter in this one, in a big moment, I mean, we were talking with this on the Tuesday pod, but I mean, do you trust the Lions defense in a big moment to get a stop?
I mean, they did last week against, one of the better offenses in the league. Shout out to Puka Nacua across from Cooper Cup. And if anyone asks why I'm making faces, it's because the Celtics had Jalen Brunson 2 free throws and then they missed like a whole breeze, but Tatum just Sammed it. So I don't know. It's the last minute and a half. 1 point game.
1 point
Nuggets
game.
are out of the league. And the significance for this is they're Nuggets trying to snap 20 home winning streak for the Celtics. And the Celtics, obviously are not gonna have it snap. And oh my gosh, Tatum just all right. We'll see. We'll see what's
We're
going on with
pivoting
this
to a
game.
live watch.
I know Tatum just blocked. Is that Tatum? I don't know. I
Porzingis.
think someone Porzingis just blocked Jokic 3. So shout out Tatum, really, really taking over. But yeah, I don't with the Lions. I mean, it's just they feel like a solid team, but their wins have been close. Even their first game of the season against the Chiefs, it was a 1 point game. Like they haven't had really a dominant win, and to go up against a team that has nothing to lose, similar to the Packers, and can just go out there and put up points. I mean, the Bucks were supposed to lose the season. Like no one's out there expecting Baker to go in, and when Baker is not, no pressure on him. He's great. And in a team that's specifically built for a gunner, shooter like Tom Brady, just go out there and put up 40, 50 passes. That's a really dangerous roll of the dice when you have that good of a offense around them. And oh my gosh. Holy cow.
I've got a Murray Jokic pick and roll at 45 seconds happening.
I'm at 50. I'm at 50 seconds. Zingas just got hit with the foul on Jokic. Yeah, when you have that much of an offense, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions lost this just because there's just so many. That offense is really scary for a Lions fan, but yeah, I do think the Lions are able to they're gonna have to come out from the beginning and dominate. And I think if they go out, they hold time of possession, even if it's like, a 1-score game, if they have time of possession, they have the clock, I think they are able to get the win in this game. But that's what they're gonna have to do is control the game, like slow it down, pretty much do what was the only thing that could stop the Chiefs back in the day. And that was slowing him down. Oh my gosh, Aaron Gordon cannot hit a shot to save his life.
I do think that. I think you just saw the Tatum play.
Oh, was he fouled? Oh, what did they call it? Oh my gosh,
was it the Tatum steal? I think with the Lions as well too, that all the concerns being, putting those aside, the fact that they've been in these close games and the fact that they were able to, pull that Rams game off, but I do think was impressive. Like they got the stop on defense that they needed. And then when they got the ball back on offense, Goff was able to convert a couple of first downs. And as solid as some of the line stuff was in that Rams performance, I was shout out to Champ, got to watch the first Lion home playoff game of our lifetime with a Lions fan, the Champ. And kind of the one moment he was like, his most concern was Goff early fourth quarter. I think maybe like 9 minutes left, doesn't get the third down. They punt the ball. The Rams are going to get it back. But when he gets the ball back at the end, he's able to pick up a couple of first downs. They're able to run the clock out, get the win. And part of that's Goff, but part of that is Amon-Ra as well, too. And he has been, Amon-Ra has been fantastic in this last couple of games. And the fact that the problem is the defensive backs for the Lions are giving up bigger receiving performances than Amon-Ra, but he's been like 100 plus yards, basically, I think like 7 touchdowns over the last 9 games. He's been on a pretty incredible stretch. So I agree with you. I do think that the Lions are going to take this one, but I think that the Bucks are going to keep this one close. And I think, it's the playoffs, right? Like, am I crazy for looking at all these Vegas lines? Playoffs. Am I crazy for looking at all these Vegas lines and thinking that playoff games they're going to be close because all these games are like, I think the Bucks Lions is like 6.5. We got a 6.5, a 9.5, a 9.5. I know that Chiefs Bills game is going to be, that the line on that game's close, but am I crazy for thinking that even though some of these teams are not the teams we expected, that they're good teams? And I think that this week we're going to have competitive matchups. I don't think that we're necessarily going to see blowouts.
Okay, I'm a little confused here with what's going on with the game. Jokic made a jump to move forward. They had a lane violation. Then it looked like they were going to give him the free throw, and now they're doing a jump ball in the middle. So a win for the Nuggets? I don't know. This is kind of weird right now. I'm just waiting for
The
my
streak.
notification that's waiting for scores. I don't. Oh, Tatum got it. Oh my gosh. Call timeout. Holy cow.
Wait, you got to turn your notifications off while you watch the game.
I
You can't have
know.
that score buzz in early.
I know. My stream's a little behind.
I've got all the Bleacher Report stuff turned off.
Yeah.
ESPN.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now.
I mean, shout out to all the streaming services for providing, but I mean, they lag behind sometimes. It is what it is. And then you're watching a playoff game, last second field goal, then you get that buzzer down when they call the timeout to ice the kicker, and you realize you're, 30, 40 seconds behind, a minute behind, and you know the score before the final plays even happen. It sneaks up on you sometimes.
It gets you.
Yeah, I think sometimes you got to silence, but
yeah, you gotta silence them. You're right. That's a bad move right there. All right, but have we talked about this Lions game enough? Who are you picking?
I'm taking Lions as well too. Yeah. Do we want to rapid fire the rest of the bracket quick?
Yeah, I got Texans Chiefs.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Chiefs in the conference final. Of course, I'm picking the Chiefs to take the Super Bowl at that point.
I've got Ravens Chiefs.
Okay, who you have in the Super Bowl?
I switched my pick. That Chiefs Bills game is tough. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I have no idea who's going to win that game. But
yeah, that's going to be the toughest game of the whole week.
I do kind of want Lamar to get the Super Bowl.
Yeah, same.
At least to be in it, I think would be clutch.
More MVPs in Super Bowls, please, or than playoff ones.
I'll pick Lamar to make it this week.
Okay. Although, and then
should I just backtrack and pick the Texans?
So you're saying Lamar in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. Against who? Are we going to graphic Super Bowl?
Can I take the Lions?
Why did they give Jaylen Brown the ball?
Ravens Lions?
Oh my gosh. Give me a sec. Oh, they fouled him. Look out. Ravens Lions? The Lions? Over the 49ers? A healthy 49ers?
That's a tough one. I was looking at Purdy's numbers too. Purdy, so if you take out that Ravens game, Purdy, the last 7 games was 72%, 284 yards a game, 19 touchdowns, 2 picks, 136 passer rating over that stretch. And even the last 2, even if you throw in that Ravens game, 120 passer rating still, 70% completion percentage. Yeah, I think you're right. Niners, Ravens?
Yeah.
Graphic Bowl?
I think it's going to be a graphic bowl.
The 1 seeds?
If the Chiefs aren't making it.
Wait, you picked the Texans.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs and 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, there's purple on the graphic. You need to get the Texans in there.
Nah, I'm staying with my pick that I had.
So if Stroud beats Mahomes in the playoffs, is he the best quarterback in the league? Does he just take that crown right away?
He's got to win a ring. He's got to win it all.
Oh, well, I shouldn't say. Sam streams behind. Sam doesn't know who I bet on. It's fine.
I think I do.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think I might have said it before we started.
And, part of me thinks the Celtics are going to choke this one. I mean, going 21-0, whatever, they would have gone if they won this game. Would have been crazy.
Wait, where are you at?
Oh gosh, that hurt.
Oh, we might
I just saw Tatum miss that shot. That was tough. And that's a good win by the Nuggets. They definitely fought back for that one. That's a statement win. Like we were talking before the pod, and we might get into it a little bit, but it's probably a good transition. The Nuggets have been kind of coasting a little bit. It felt like through the season, and this was definitely a little statement win that they're still the champions. They're still the best team.
Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. 2-1, baby. Money line. It was too tempting. I was staring at the spread before this game paused, and it was like 7 points.